What's going on, guys? Husband and Wife Gaming here, and today we are bringing you a review of the Beaver custom controller. I'm trying to zoom in on their logo a little bit here, but we've had this controller for probably a few months now, and we haven't taken the time to do a review on it, partially because we had a little bit of issue with my controller when we got it, which I'll go into, but another part of it's just we've been really busy. And another part of it is we wanted to use them for a while so that we could give you guys an accurate review of the controller. So without any further ado, let's get into it. So these controllers are very comparable, I guess you could say, to a SCUF gaming controller. They have buttons on the back of the controller that is, you know, they're in a very good position. Actually, I'm going to try and see if I can zoom in on the buttons here. Can you turn it just a little bit more towards the light? The other direction. Oh, that would work. That'll work. So you can see the buttons right there, and the buttons that we have 4, but they're in like a perfect position. And Tiffany's going to try and model it right there. So right where she holds the button or the controller, the buttons are right underneath of her fingertips, and they actually have 3 different locations. So you can actually make them a little bit higher up on the controller, the traditional position, which is where we opted to have ours, or you can have them lower down on the controller if you have much bigger hands. So they can also do, you know, like all sorts of stuff. Like obviously you see ours is chromed out with the blue and pink look for the husband and wife kind of theme, I guess you could say. Tiffany's controller that she has sitting down lower is the polar opposite, I guess you could say, to that. So mine is the blue and pink, and where hers is pink, mine's blue, so forth and so on. Hers is obviously much cleaner than mine, looking at that. So but the buttons aren't the only thing that he can do to these controllers. So what he can actually do is he can tighten the thumbsticks down. So the thumbstick that Tiffany has on her right thumb is actually tighter and is more similar to an Xbox 360 thumbstick than the Xbox One thumbstick.
And that is definitely true, going back to an old controller.
Yeah, so the Xbox One thumbstick is very loose, and it feels loose. And you don't really realize how loose it is until you play again with one that is tighter, and then you try and go back again. And that's a modification that I don't think I could ever play with an Xbox One controller again without that tightened thumbstick. And he can do that for like $10, and it really makes a significant difference in your shot, or at least for me it felt like it did. And the next thing that they can do is they obviously do the triggers. They do the adjustable hair triggers, kind of like SCUF does, but we opted to go with what's called the smart trigger. So you can see right now, Tiffany is barely pushing it. That little tiny bit is as far as the controller goes down. No matter how hard she pushes on that, that is as far as the controller's trigger will actually pull down. And it's because what he's done is he's turned the trigger into a button. And the button is very responsive. It's like it works instantly. And what it does is it makes it so that your button or your controller thinks that it's being pushed down at 100%. So if you've ever tried to play a game like Grand Theft Auto, for example, with a SCUF controller, you know that your car won't go very fast because your SCUF controller doesn't allow you to depress the trigger all the way down. So this one actually allows you to get to 100%, which is really cool. So, yeah, so we have really enjoyed these controllers. I think we had the Shark controllers, and we were sponsored by Shark Controller. They were the first company that I'm aware of, at least, to actually make a remapped button thumbstick controller type thing. And they're good controllers, but I would say that these are definitely superior to them, primarily because of the button placement and just the customizable options. You know, the button placement is good. The triggers really make a significant difference, and then having that adjustable thumbstick, the tension on the thumbstick is a big difference. So we really have enjoyed that aspect of it. You know, to get into the controller a little bit more and the company itself. So I had mentioned that I had problems with my controller, and what would happen is I would pull the right thumbstick down, or I'm sorry, the right trigger down, and it would just keep firing and firing and firing forever. And I didn't really know why, but he took it back and he took a look at it and he said that Microsoft had a problem with it when it came out, and he fixed the problem. And unfortunately, after that, the problem became worse with the Microsoft controller, and my motherboard type thing that's built inside the controller actually fried. But he sent me a brand new controller, completely, free of charge, other than the shipping that I had to send it back. So he absolutely stands by his products, and his products are completely up to par and just as good, if not better, than any controller that I've ever used. And I've used a Shark controller and a Scuff controller before, and so far I would say that this has been my favorite controller. The only downside that I can even remotely possibly come up with is that these little buttons on the back will occasionally come out and fall out, and right now I can't even get mine out. But Tiffany's fell out on her the other day when she was pulling on it, or not when she was pulling on it, but when she was pushing the button, and you can see hers just came out right there when she just pulled on it a little bit. So that is literally the only downside that we have ever had with the controller in long term. She can't get any of the other ones out, but that one right there that she pushed.
I mean, you gotta keep pulling.
Yeah.
I have a fingernail to like dig it out.
Yeah, so that is literally the only downside that I can come up with. On top of all of these great things that we've already talked about, he has excellent prices. If you want just a generic black controller with buttons and triggers, you're looking at like $95 to $105 shipped, and you can't beat that. If you want to go with the adjustable thumbstick and the smart triggers like what we have and do some other things, you can spend like $150, $160. I think ours, almost fully customized with everything that you can get on it, was like $165. And that's almost the price of a Scuff basic controller. So at any rate, we really do like this controller. We think it's great. I think we've said enough about it. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out to us. Ask any questions on YouTube and or in the comment section, and or contact us on Twitter. That will be down in the description. So thanks everybody for watching. We really appreciate it. And check out some of our other great videos that are either on the channel, or if you want to, subscribe to the channel and you can see some other videos that will be coming out soon. Thanks guys for watching.